Good morning, beautiful people. It is January 2nd, 2020. 2 days into the brand new year, 2 days into the brand new decade. Same talking points. Is Tua going to come back? We will find out on January 6th. I have some thoughts, as do the boys. What's going on in the coaching searches in the NFL? We have some thoughts, as do the boys. The internet's telling us that Urban Meyer is probably going to be the Cleveland Browns coach. I'm excited to hear that and see how that goes. The old Urban gets to go back to Ohio, a place that still loves him, as they should, and a place that he still thinks he coaches at Ohio State. 1-833-622-3331. We'll be joined by Joe Thomas, the Joe Thomas that was the first ever offensive lineman in the NFL, who had like 17,000 straight snaps or something like that in the second hour, to talk about the Cleveland Browns, to talk about the playoffs, which he never got a chance to play in, but one of the greatest football players of all time, so let's assume his brain will do a good job. And in the first hour, we're being joined by
John Machota of The Athletic.
John Machota, or John Machota of The Athletic. He's the Dallas Cowboys beat writer for The Athletic. We'll chat about how does Jason Garrett and Jerry Jones still have a working relationship after all these years of mediocrity and after all these years of when's Jason Garrett getting fired? Hasn't been fired yet. Contract is still for another week and a half. I assume they're going to meet yet again. And why is that happening, Diggs?
Well, it's because Jerry just can't look Jason in the eye while he's crying. Tears. sad tears. And just let him go. It's tough to do.
Very personable, by the way. Very human-like of Jerry Jones not being able to break up with somebody while they're crying. Jerry Jones should just text them and get it over with. It's 10:02 here on the Eastern Standard Time, 7:02 Pacific. We got a good one for you. Evan Fox, please play the Chase Rice.
It's the perfect occasion for a little vacation from the heart of the nation. Not a young medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show.
Can't even sing. Yes, it is Chase Rice. There's somebody named Eldred on the phone line. I can't wait to talk to Eldred. That must be like a 95-year-old.
Is that Tiger?
No, that's
Eldrick.
Eldrick. This is Eldred. Calling from Florida, though, so we'll get to that. Also, Charles on the line from Indy, and one other currently going through. Uncle Todd McComas, who's on the phones in the back. At Evan Foxy, who's running the cameras. At Viva Lazito. Jason McAfee, back from 2 vacations. Hey, happy birthday, Jay. Hey, I'm taking a New Year's trip. It's 7 days long. It's interesting. New decade, you got to do it. At Ty Schmidt, hope you're feeling good. At Tone Diggs. At Nick Morato's on the 1s and 2s. Also with some notable news today that I think we'll all enjoy. And on the casting chatting couch from Boston, old Connor, who's very sad to see the Patriots dynasty die this weekend, you said.
No, that is not what I said.
You did?
That is not
You did say it.
Well,
I said 2 to 3 years. I think we have some time left.
No. Well, your 2 to 3 years was you backpedaling, like Stephon Gilmore, because on numerous occasions this year, you have said that the Patriots stink. And every time that you and other talking heads out there have said the Patriots stink, all the Patriots do is take that down on a little notebook, and now they're saying that they're going on a revenge tour this playoffs. They say, Kyle Van Noy, friend of the show, he's been on here a couple times, says this playoff run for the Patriots is going to be a revenge tour. I don't know what that means. They were the franchise of the decade.
Yeah.
They're the best franchise in the history of professional sport, basically. The only people that can really compete with them are potentially the San Antonio Spurs down there in Texas. And I think that's it. Maybe Manchester United back in the day when we were younger and they had all the good players, David Beckham, Wayne Rooney, and they're on TV all the time. Maybe they had a good run. I don't know soccer well enough. But the Patriots, what they've been able to do the last 20 years is the most impressive thing in all of sports. And now, somehow, some way, they have figured out a way to call this a revenge tour after being the reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champion. And for that, that's why I love Belichick. That's why I love the Patriot way. And they're turning this into a completely motivational thing. But I don't know if that's going to score points for them. I just don't know if that's going to happen. I hope it does for your sake and for the Patriots fan base, because you guys haven't got to experience happiness enough.
You
I
said
agree.
2 to 3 years, you said?
Yeah.
2 to 3
That
years.
thing's over in 2 to 3 days, my friend.
Whoa!
I got something here just to think about. I know you're a numbers guy. I know you're a gambler.
Yeah.
Belichick, when playing a team in the playoffs that he didn't face in the regular season, is 15-2-1 against the spread, 16-2 straight up.
That was with good Patriots teams.
Whoa. By the way,
Brady.
15-2-1 is
Pretty good.
a hell of a record. Old Belichick is that. I bet you Mafia, you Italians probably love Belichick.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They were the winningest team of the decade in the NFL.
I remember
as far as
when I first
money.
got into sports gambling. Because when you're in the NFL, although that dude that was on IR in Arizona was just caught gambling, when you're in the NFL or any professional sport, I'd assume, as soon as you walk through the doors, they tell you not to be Pete Rose, right? They're like, don't be Pete Rose, don't gamble on sports. And I had too much to worry about where I didn't even think about gambling on sports anyways, even though I had a lot of Italian friends, too many Italian friends growing up. So, I mean, sports gambling was always something that was chatted about. But for me, I was just always so far away from it. Because, like, I would even tell some of my friends that love sports gambling, I'm like, yo, I don't even know how I'm going to do it. Like, I don't even know how I'm going to do this weekend. Like, maybe I got a cough that's been keeping me up like 2 hours a night, and you have no idea about that. And maybe what? I drop a snap like the kid from Wisconsin, and they run one back. I mean, I don't even know if that's going to happen. I don't know how you could think about it. So I always thought it was the dumbest thing ever. So then I retired, and I'm like, got to gamble. Got to get into it. And I started doing it. My main bet was the second half points for the New England Patriots. I just assumed that when Tom Brady and Josh McDaniels put their big, beautiful brains together at halftime, they were going to be able to figure out and dissect the other team and say, it made me thousands and thousands of dollars, and then it stopped. And then it didn't happen anymore. And it feels like that's kind of what had happened to this Patriots team, is that the Patriots offense just hasn't been able to figure it out until maybe these last couple weeks. They were able to move against that Buffalo Bills defense like it was no problem. But then who played them the next week? The Buffalo Bills. Somebody played the Buffalo Bills the next week. I don't know. It moved the ball all over them. And then the Dolphins go into Foxborough, and they were able to stop Tom, and they were able to score against Tom. So now it was like what I thought was once a problem for them, not being able to move. I thought they had it fixed and corrected against the Bills. Then they play the Dolphins, and it's like, wait a minute. I had this rule where I'm not betting against the Patriots this year. I said that I'm not going to bet against them. I'm not going to bet against them. And this weekend, it feels very hard not to bet against them, and that's exactly where they want me. I think that's exactly where they want me. Is that not right, Connor? I mean, that's
completely right. I mean, we want everyone to write us off and then go on this revenge tour and chip on the shoulder, get it done.
Phillip Dorsett became a weapon deep for them again, right? So Phillip Dorsett was hurt there for a little bit because when I was on Get Up, Rex Ryan would always say, and even Tom Brady said it. When Tom Brady sat on the sideline, looked at his team, and he said, I need you to be faster. I need you to be quicker. I need you to be more explosive. Just all these things. He was pleading with a bunch of humans to do things that humans just can't fix sitting on the sideline, right? So everybody was saying they weren't fast enough. They didn't have enough weapons. But I got a chance, obviously, to see Phil Dorsett whenever he was at the Colts. He ran like a 4.2. He was very fast. And at the beginning of the season, he was making some big plays for them down the field. He was hurt for a while. They lose that. He came back last week or 2 weeks ago, and he started getting some shots. I think he dropped one or two, but that could obviously help out the offense. Then N'Keal Harry could potentially help out the offense, and the offensive lines may be getting hot. And Julian Edelman's always going to be the squirrel finding the nut. I mean, we're talking about what if they get hot right now and go on a run and just piss everybody off yet again. That's going to be a frustrating thing whenever we wake up on Monday. And it's just going to be the same old story that the Patriots buzzsawed the Titans. I mean, that is very, very... That is a potential to happen. I mean, we have a chance on Monday to wake up and say the Patriots do it yet again when nobody thought they did.
People in the past have buried them after week 2, week 4, week 6, saying they're not the same Patriots. But it's never gone this long. Like I don't know if you could flip a switch this late in the season and just figure stuff out this late in the season.
So Ryan Fitzpatrick, let's assume that he didn't just put a blueprint out there for Ryan Tannehill, right? Let's assume he didn't, because Tannehill knows that he can't do anything to Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Right.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, we've said this before, brain of a Harvard guy, heart of a plumber. Will run his face into anything and do anything. He is an anomaly. He's beaten the Patriots for every team in the Patriots division himself. He's an anomaly. So let's assume that Tannehill just can't do exactly what they did. which is something that maybe they possibly can, especially with Derrick Henry at 240, 250 in the back. I don't know, man. I'm very indifferent on this entire thing. And you said that the Patriots stink, and now you're backing off of it because you don't want your friends from back home to yell at you.
No, I mean, they haven't looked great, and you lose to the Dolphins and Gillette. It's hard not to say that the Patriots stink.
That's the only one I don't have a good feeling about gambling-wise this weekend. We've been on a little bit of a heater gambling here, by the way. I mean, you not so much. You picked Auburn over Minnesota. You should have known Sky Umah row the boat. I mean, you knew that. You should have known that.
I figured better players would win, but, that didn't happen.
Oh, P.J. Fleck? You bet against P.J. Fleck yesterday, and in a bowl game.
Listen, I was 5-0 the day before.
I understand. That's why I think you were starting to feel yourself too much. Remember,
No, it's peaks and valleys in betting.
2 weeks of P.J. Fleck, though, motivating those kids. 2 weeks of that. There was no way they weren't just going to go out there and buzzsaw Auburn.
Yeah, also, that might as well have been like the Rose Bowl for Minnesota. Like, they're not used to playing in those big New Year's Day bowls, so you knew they were going to come out and be ready to go.
If the mob didn't get the Wisconsin kicker, I think we're okay.
The punter?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know how that happened. I guess it just slips out of your hands. When you're punting, the first thing you have to think about is catch the damn ball. There's a lot. That's the first thing you got to think about, because every time you go on the field, you got to catch a ball. I used to wear one glove, right, because I like to feel the ball with my right hand, because whether it's laces or something, when you're trying to drop it perfectly flat. Also, you don't want the stickiness of the glove to potentially knock it off center, because it has to be perfectly straight as well when you drop it. So I didn't wear it there. But every time I caught a ball, I would watch, anytime I watch somebody catch a ball in practice, wide receiver, they always have these gloves on. It made it look so easy. Every time I was going on a field, I'm catching a ball, I'm like, well, I'm definitely going to use a glove. So I would always have one glove on. Commentators would be like, I don't know why he has a glove on. I'm like, I catch a ball every single time I'm on the field. I have more receptions every single game than damn near every wide receiver on the team. Literally, it was mind-back. So I would catch it. And I think the biggest advantage I had, because I took a little bit longer steps, but I was able to get the ball into a position to bomb it quicker than everybody, because I went to so much work on the jugs machine. I went to work on the jugs machine. I would get a lot of DMs from college kids that were punters. They would send me film, and they'd be like, how do you think I get better? I'm like, work on your hands. You get better hands, you can probably punt the ball better. That's the first thing I think that people don't take account for. And it seems like that kid's done it a couple times now in the last couple games. It's you got to get real comfortable with balls in your hands. No, it's real though. You have to have good dexterity with the ball. And I don't know how you slip out there.
Did you wear?
But I would also, if I wore a glove on my left hand, and then I would lick my fingers more than Brett, more than Aaron, more than Dan Marino. I would lick my fingers a lot, because just the thought of that thing slipping out there, that's a nightmare there. You're just getting clobbered, and that's a tutter back the other way. That poor guy. He got slammed right in the face, gave up a touchdown, then they lose. His entire offseason, he has to deal with that. He has to deal with that every single day of his life for this entire offseason. That's a nightmare.
You dropped one once and still got a kickoff, didn't you?
Yeah. Yep. Sometimes
Did
you
you?
got to juke a guy.
It was impressive.
Yeah, thank you. It's the snap was at my right shoulder by Overton. And for some reason, I just, if you just have a lack of focus, right, for 1 second, I looked away, and that thing went bouncing out of my hands. And it was on Thursday Night Football, I think. That's a full, poop your pants type. Oh my God. This is not how this is supposed to go. This isn't a video game. This is real life. I'm going to have to walk back over to that sideline and stare at a bunch of real athletes where I just dropped the ball and now they're going to score a touchdown. So I scoop it up. It took a good bounce to me. And I'm like, okay, a little bit of athlete here. And I turn, and there's just what looked to be a 6'4", 240-pound guy with a number 57 staring at me, and I'm like, oh no, this ain't it. So I hit him with an L1 or an R1. What one makes me juke to my left?
L1 is to the left.
Yeah, so I hit him with an L1. It was a little bit I didn't stop on a dime. It was more like a $50. It was a little bit of a skip, and then I got a punt off, but penalty. We had too many men past the line of scrimmage, had to come back. Next one, guy almost broke my leg, but got the punt off. It was just a bad moment. But yeah, ball on the ground, ball slips out of your hands. Nightmare situation. And there's some punts you see where the ball has slipped out of the punter's hands. You can probably tell by the outcome of the ball, but getting it on the ground, that's tough stuff.
Do you have fire situations for those, or is it always just get it up and punt it as soon as you
Field
can?
goal, you have fire situations, but those never work anyways. I mean, because by the time you say fire, the guy that you're supposed to throw to has already been run over. So he's already been plastered in the face. They're always like, all right, let's practice at least one fire today, because you don't want to tell the offensive line, right? So you just have to Before one kick, I'll look at Vinny and I'll be like, all right, we're doing a fire here. All right, you got it. Every single time. It never failed. Get down, fire, fire, fire. And then it's a little look back. Oh! I'm like, oh, that'll work in a game. That'll work in a game. I don't know how many successful ones there are. But that was quite a turn in that game. Most special teams plays like that are, by the way. Oregon, that Herbert kid. I'm intrigued by what happens with him in the NFL. I didn't like the way in the Oregon-Utah game where he did well. By all accounts, he did well. They zoomed in on his face. And this just sounds like judging a book by cover. I like to see something in like the eyes of like somebody, you know, like I think that's I think you could tell a lot by a guy, especially in the middle of the game, how he's carrying himself. I don't know how he's going to do. Looked like a bit of an athlete yesterday, though. Gave a guy a stiff arm through the ground. That looked pretty good.
He just didn't impress this season. He's had too many duds this season.
A lot of duds. And being an NFL quarterback is not easy. I think there'll be Senior Bowls and all these bowl games where there'll be like 8 of the best quarterbacks in college football that'll be there. 1 or 2 of them is going to play. Well, it's just not easy to get into the NFL and play. I would assume Joe Burrow's going to because he's in an NFL system. He's been doing very well. I don't know if that guy's ready yet. Maybe he will develop into one over this offseason or something like that, or maybe I'm missing something, which could be true because Pac-12's never on television. But it's just every time I see him, I don't go like, oh, yeah, that guy's an NFL quarterback.
Same.
Well, and a lot of these mocks have him going to the Chargers, and you wonder if, like, the step from Phillip Rivers to him, if people aren't going to be as patient, because it's like, you know, I mean, granted, Phillip never won a Super Bowl or anything, but he was very good for a very long time.
People are talking about him coming to the Colts now. I saw that. Oh. Todd doesn't like it. I don't mind it.
I love it.
I don't mind it at all. Indianapolis, great place for a family. Bring all 40 kids here. Come on out here. Good cost of living. I think Phillip Rivers and Indianapolis have a hilarious history because back in the day, the reason why I got drafted is because the Chargers beat the Colts a lot because of field position.
Mike Cyphers.
Yeah.
Bombing.
Mike Cyphers had like the greatest game in the history of punters in this playoff AFC Championship game, I think, or AFC Divisional round. He had like 6 punts. He might have averaged 95 yards.
It was insane.
And every single one was inside the 5. They got rid of Hunter Smith after that game. I got brought in immediately because of that. But Phillip Rivers and Indianapolis have quite a relationship. And I think once they learn about Phillip Rivers and how he doesn't swear, although he is chirpy, which he talked a lot during games, which was awesome. He never swears. He has a great history, likes work ethic, that crying in the press conference. I think Indianapolis could sell him. I think Phillip Rivers would be very much welcomed in this city. I just don't know. He looked like he was throwing some med balls in there.
Oh, yeah.
He looked like sometimes it was getting a little bit heavy there this year, and maybe I was wrong. Maybe I wasn't watching right things, but it would be cool to have Phillip Rivers.
Jacoby's QBR was 23rd in the league. Rivers was 24th. So I don't understand.
That was like the worst year Rivers has ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, if you bring Rivers in, though, you're giving up. You're giving up on Jacoby for sure. It's hard for him to come back after that if you bring in.
You say it's hard for Jacoby to come back if he gets benched for Phillip Rivers?
Yeah.
Why are you taking a shot at Phillip Rivers like that?
I'm not.
You did.
I'm just saying if the organization has confidence in you, don't bring in Phillip Rivers.
I know. Because then you're bringing in an actual starter. Like, Phillip Rivers isn't going to be there to be a backup.
No.
Phillip Rivers is like, imagine him as a backup, by the way. Oh, the amount of talk to the starting defense. If he was running scout team in practice, that would be out of control. He's not coming to be a backup.
No.
There's enough teams, I would assume, that would use him. He's probably going to have to, I don't know what Phillip Rivers is going to do.
It's interesting.
It is very interesting. Chris Ballard has an interesting decision in Indianapolis. Very interesting. He could draft guy. He's got 9 draft picks this year. He can move. Chris Ballard can move in the draft if he wants. We'll talk about a guy who's thinking about moving in or out of the draft, Tua, in a little bit, plus the rest of these NFL games that we didn't get to about the locks that we have. I like Philadelphia, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I like Philadelphia, by the way.
Home dogs.
I think I do too.
I like Philadelphia, by the way. I like New Orleans, and I like Houston.
The lines have moved a little bit. New England was 4.5. Now they're minus 5.5. Houston went from 3 to 2.5. New Orleans went from 8 to 7.5.
I could be wrong. I've been on a heater, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I got people tweeting me. They were like, I've made so much money off of your bets and just fading you. I'm like, no, you have not. No, I understand that's just like standard internet chirpiness, but that is just not accurate. Like I have raked in from FanDuel this year. They're paying us a lot of money.
I've seen the account. He's
and
doing just
I am
fine.
raking in from FanDuel is not. I think they probably have like lists of people that are hot right now and whatever. I'm probably up there near the top. They're like, who is that? Oh, that's a guy we're paying to be here?
They've frozen you out a couple times.
Yeah, it's taking a little bit to get in. It is taking a little bit to get in.
Gambling internet's the worst.
FanDuel is the best, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The best.
Best.
There's so many ways to win on there. There really is. There's so many little wagers if you just.
Almost too many.
Almost. Because you start looking at those plus like 3,000, plus 3,500 ones, you're like, yeah, dude. That guy
value.
will score.
Do that.
The
Great value.
Left tackle's going to score today. They can drop a little pass to that guy, a little hideout screen for the tackle.
Did you hear what happened to him? No. He bet Christmas Day LeBron have a triple-double, and LeBron missed it by 1 rebound.
By 1 rebound.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
It was like, what was it, plus?
Plus 750. Oh no, it was 350. It was
Whose fault did LeBron say it was?
It was LeBron's fault. There was a rebound with 30 seconds left that he just let Alex Caruso grab. It's like, God damn it, LeBron.
I don't think you're allowed to say what you just said right there. I don't think there's any way you're allowed to say what you just said. Right
No, you can't shun the holy.
Hey, Don, did that just get dumped, I assume?
I think that's a no.
not even
we just
listening.
lost Don.
I think that's a no.
No, he said no.
Oh, my God. Damn it is fine.
Oh, you just can't use the
God
big
is
man?
fine. Just placing those two together in that particular order, I don't think.
Can you
is
go the
good.
opposite order?
Damn it, God. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he or she did something there where you're
Okay.
Yeah, like Alex Jones.
Alexander Jones.
Nope.
Hamilton. You went and saw that the other day.
I did.
How was it? Did you feel cultured?
I feel really cultured.
Hamilton's touring now, and I don't know. They're probably making a bazillion.
He got F squad.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. They're all good. I saw the Book of Mormon when it came to Indianapolis, which is probably like the Z Squad by the time it was on. Still good. Still funny.
It was amazing.
Did you learn something in there?
Yeah, George Washington loved the ladies.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't learn that from that movie, from that show.
I might have got confused who George was.
Yeah, I think a lot of them. Yeah, well, we gotta read this ad. We'll get back to it. 1022, Zito going to that might be a series in of itself. Zito going to high society.
Reviewing it.
Did you dress up?
Yeah, I had a hat on though.
He was eating his breakfast sandwich this morning with a fork and a knife.
Well, because I don't eat bread anymore.
That's right. Accountability Buddies,
Yeah.
2020.
Nick, are you shaming me?
Are
you fat shaming
No,
me?
I'm just
Are
impressed.
you
You're
fat
coming.
shaming me?
What?
Why are you body shaming Zito, dude?
He's coming up in the world. He's going
I-
to Hamilton. He's eating his sandwiches with a fork and a knife now. It's impressive.
Well, it's ham
It
and
was a
cheese.
compliment.
Nick lives on a train track. Smart. Plot your exit.
I mean, people live near trains. It happens.
No.
Can't help it. You live near a train.
It's not my backyard. You're actually like one of those train track kids right now. Go hop out, grab the thing, take a hike. I respect
I
that.
might after this.
On average, a burglary happens once every 23 seconds in the United States. Approximately 2 million burglaries are reported a year in the United States. What's crazy is that only 1 in 5 homes have home security, probably because most companies don't make it easy. Their complicated installation and salespeople are terrible. Long-term contracts full of hidden fees make me mad. Astronomical monthly fees are so stupid. That's why SimpliSafe is our choice for home security. It's comprehensive, professional home security at a fair price. And right now is your last chance to access their holiday savings. Listeners get a free security camera plus 25% off your security system to start the new year. SimpliSafe offers 24/7 professional monitoring, a smart lock and video doorbell to defend your front door. We must protect this house. An arsenal of sensors and cameras cover every inch of your home. SimpliSafe gives real-time video confirmation to police in the event of a break-in, so police respond up to 3.5 times faster. There's no contract, no hidden fees, no fine print. Prices start at just $15 a month for comfort and security. SimpliSafe rarely does deals this big, so now's your chance to get 25% off your system, plus a free HD security camera so you can take advantage of their video verification technology at SimpliSafe.com/Pat. And hurry, this sale ends January 7th. SimpliSafe.com/Pat. We love SimpliSafe.
Oh, yeah.
We also like talking to sports, to people that enjoy the sports. We got people on the phone. We'll get to them. We'll talk about Tua. We'll talk about NFL viewership. David Stern, rest in peace. We'll give a little shout out to him as well. He deserves it. You're listening to The Pat McAfee Show.
Ten years ago, I had an undiagnosed heart condition, and erectile dysfunction was actually the first sign that something was wrong.
Luckily, I'm a doctor, an expert in sexual health, and Zach's dad.
Not everyone has a doctor in the house, and some health conditions can be really tough to talk about. We started Roman to change that.
Now you can go online and chat with a physician.
And if treatment is right for you, we'll ship genuine medication right to your door. If you're experiencing ED, hair loss, cold sores, or other issues, let's take care of it.
Never gets stopped. Doesn't get stopped. Station identification. Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on this January 2nd, 2020. It is 10:30 on the right half of America, 7:30 on the way left, and then there's a bunch of different times in between. Congratulations to Illinois on legalizing the marijuana.
Good job.
Zito, resident of Chicago, just gave it a standing ovation. I was watching the news last night. Lines out of the county to get into those things. I'd assume a lot of people from Indiana were in those lines. It's only going to be a matter of time before Todd McComas' old boys just set up a barrier at that damn thing. Todd McComas was 21 years state police detective, now host of Heartland Radio, stand-up comedy, a bunch of other stuff. Todd, you dealt in the drug business. How does the state police in Indiana figure out what car coming from Chicago doesn't have marijuana? Like that's going to be my question. How do they know which ones don't have? Because I think Ohio's legal, I think Michigan's legal, and Illinois is legal. There's a lot of roads into all of those ones. How do the cops act as if they're not trying to just pull people over who are definitely on their way to get high?
I think for a while you're going to see them stop probably every car with an Indiana plate coming back from Illinois. My only suggestion is if you're one of those people who are going to risk that, just fill your trunk full of tennis balls. Dogs love tennis balls. It'll really confuse them.
Yeah, because in the dog training for that, they get a tennis ball
That's the
if
reward.
they succeed.
Yeah.
You just pop it open and just before
100 tennis balls. Oh, my God. Dog has a heart attack.
All right, the world is changing in 2020.
Is it decriminalized in Indiana? So as long as you have like less than a pound, you're just going to get a ticket?
Yeah, but you got to remember, there's people.
That's only in this county, though, right?
I don't know.
I think that's true.
It's
I
very.
think Zito was right for once.
Well, and also if you take it across state lines, though, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That was the original ban on marijuana, by the way. It wasn't illegal. You just couldn't travel across state lines, and then the laws picked up even more and more and more to kind of ban it completely. Yeah. We'll send. You want to go? We'll send you up there. Just get you a big bag.
I'll buy it in Illinois, and then I'll put it in just normal plastic bags. So they have no idea that I got it in Illinois.
No. Excuse me. I got this in Indiana.
Correct.
Took a trip to Chicago. Came back with some. This is homegrown, my friend.
luck proving
You're
that.
welcome. Let's go to Charles in Indianapolis. What's up, Charles?
Hey, Pat, thanks for having me on. I just wanted to hammer the Titans real quick. Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry are going to go in there and do what Blake Bortles and Leonard Fournette cannot. They're going to beat the Patriots. Also, Pat, I just wanted to give a shout-out to the Indiana Air National Guard. I am in my 4th week in the recruiting office. I just wanted to take this time to tell the kids out there. Hey, thank you. Tell the kids out there, start thinking about what you're going to do for college, how you're going to pay for it. I have a piece of paper that says I graduated from Indiana State University, and I would not have been able to do it without the Indiana Air National Guard and the benefits that they offer paying for school. So the kids out there, think about it, how you're going to pay for college.
Charles, I want to let you know, couldn't interrupt you there because I would have been un-American. I really appreciate the fact that you called in here to do your recruiting for you. That was a good move by you,
Thank you,
Charles.
Pat.
That's why you are getting to the next level when it comes to recruiting for the U.S. Air National Guard. Can we get back to your Titans pick, though, Charles? I appreciate your service, by the way.
Yes.
We appreciate the hell out of you.
Thank you.
If all hell breaks
Absolutely.
loose, we appreciate you getting young women and men to join the National Guard in the military. Couple quick
Thanks, Pat.
questions. Did you ever go with Chuck, or was Charles just always the name? Because if I was a child and my name was Charles, I think I would feel very sophisticated around a bunch of peasants.
Well, Charles is not what I go by. It's kind of an old man name. I'm going bald already in my young 20s, so I appreciate your Roman products. I need to get those going. Get the hair back because Charles is an old name. I don't want to grow into it too quick.
This guy's pretty good.
So what do you go by?
So what do you go by? And why did you go by Charles when you decided to call into this show to do your recruiting
Everyone
and
calls
plug?
Everyone calls me CJ back home, really. Kind of a younger, more hip name.
Backwards hat.
All right,
Maybe
CJ, we
Sage.
appreciate you, bud. I don't know about hammering the Titans, though, honestly.
No way.
There's no way.
I don't think you hammer, but it might sprinkle.
Don't do it.
I think Vrabel's the guy, by the way. If anybody was to do it, I think Vrabel's the guy. That video that hit the internet of him as a head coach in the National Football League interacting with a player as if he's still playing in the league, probably better than the guy that he's talking to. I don't even know who you are. Then ask sly manner to somebody else, who the fornicate is that? D-Wad? I love Vrabel. He was on Bussin' with the Boys. Do we have that clip?
Yep.
From Bussin' with the Boys. He was on Bussin' with the Boys this past offseason, which is a podcast that Taylor Lewan and Will Compton host out of the back of a Dale Earnhardt Jr. bus, which is an interesting one. He was on there and he said this.
Would you cut your dick off for a Super Bowl?
Oh, been married 20 years. Yeah, probably.
You got 3. That's how much Mike Vrabel wants to win another Super Bowl. I can't help but respect the hell out of that. The fact that he's obviously been there, done that with the Patriots is a massive part of their story and their success. Makes it a very intriguing thought to hammer the Titans plus 5.5. But, man, it is just it's hard to do. Whenever your body has been taught for the last 2 decades that this team just does things that you can't fathom them doing, it's hard to bet against them. And I told myself just weeks ago, never bet against the Patriots again.
Yeah, I mean, 5.5. If they're going to win, I feel like they're going to win by a touchdown.
If it gets up to 6, the hammer's coming out.
If that thing gets to a touchdown,
oh yeah,
you're hammering it?
Yeah.
I can respect that, but boy.
Don't do it. Don't be a fool.
I don't think it's smart. There's so many other games. There's 3 other games. There's a lot of bowl games.
Tennessee's
NBA. There's tennis happening in other parts of the world. I think cricket is happening. There's a lot of things that you could bet on.
Hockey.
I just think there's. I mean, there's also a lot of
Hockey.
A lot of past Titans on that, or sorry, a lot of past Patriots on that Titans team. I don't think they're afraid to go into Foxborough.
Ooh, I can respect that, actually. I can respect that. All right, let's take one more phone call here before we get out of here. Zach in Pueblo, Colorado.
Oh, it's a good spot.
Pueblo?
Hey, Pat.
I think it's where the Rock Amphitheater is, maybe.
Is it Pueblo or Pueblo?
Pueblo. It's Pueblo.
Oh, then I'm wrong for sure.
I'm a little bit more cultured.
Pueblo.
But, hey, Pat, I was just curious on your opinion. Do you really think Joe Burrow is ready for the NFL? Because I know he comes from a pro-style offense in college, but, like, if he goes to the Bengals or a team like that, I mean, he has a great offensive line at LSU, but, like...
And the best wide receiver in the country.
I mean, what's he going to look...
Yeah, he's ready.
Yeah.
It's a Heisman.
Yeah, he's ready. And he's an Ohio kid. He's an Ohio kid. I think that is something that is not talked about enough, especially with him ending up in a franchise that tries to kill itself every single year like the Cincinnati Bengals. Do I love that guy is still their head coach?
Zach Taylor?
I don't love that Zach Taylor is going to be the guy that's supposed to mold him. I think the thought of bringing Joe Brady in with him from LSU would be a smart idea. I mean, I'm no brainiac, and I don't think the Bengals make a lot of brainiac decisions, but he can make every throw. He's like a very mature rookie. He's going to be a very mature rookie. 5th-year senior, been there, done that. It's been a backup, has lost, has won, has done it all. And he seems like he just has this it factor, which is something you can't measure. The combine won't be able to figure out. The Burrow effect is a real one, and it's been happening very hard this year. He went from throwing like 16 touchdowns to throwing 48 touchdowns. I mean, something happened in this last year in development and growth that made him a special, special talent. Now, do I think the Cincinnati Bengals are going to be really, really good? No way. They got Lamar Jackson and the Ravens sitting right there. They got potentially Tommy John Roethlisberger and the Steelers back next year. The Browns, if they can ever figure it out, they have a lot of talent. Not that they will. I mean, it seems like they're cursed as well, but reports are coming out that they're hiring Urban Meyer potentially. They got McCarthy on deck for an interview. Let's assume somebody gets that going. So the Bengals are in a tough division for at least the next, I don't know, how long is Lamar going to play? 10 years? So it could be tough, but I think Joe Burrow will do above average whenever he gets there. I honestly
Plus, you
believe
have Dalton there. He could sit for a couple games, maybe even a full year if you had to.
Dalton, remember, they benched Dalton this year out of nowhere on his birthday. On his birthday, they benched him.
That was cold.
And then brought him back cold.
Cold.
And it was only like an hour before the trade deadline was over. I mean, everything they could do to screw the Red Rocket, they did. And then they bring him back at the end. I don't know how Andy Dalton's going to handle this offseason. I'll be excited to see. What if he just retires out of nowhere like Carson Palmer? Cincinnati retires another one, but I don't know what happens. I think Joe Burrow, it's going to be Joe Burrow's team.
I think Andy wants to be a starter again somewhere if someone's going to give him an opportunity.
I think he can be, too.
I think he can.
I agree.
I think Andy Dalton
He
can.
had 11 win teams for
a long time. Like boring 11 win. They won like 9 straight, 10 straight in like multiple seasons, I believe. I mean, my facts might be incorrect because I was playing at the time, but Andy Dalton used to be able to be one of the best game managers out there. And people forget about just because he's in Cincinnati, and they won, a game and a half this year.
That's what happens when you get rid of one of the best coaches of all time.
Joe Mixon, though, looks like they got something there with him.
Oh, yeah. He's
going to be very, very good.
That last game, he was very good.
The next couple of years.
He rattled off.
And I think the thing I like most about him is that he couldn't get his helmet off faster to get on camera after that win. Yeah. And then, boy, did he not just blow the knees out of that ref. Where was he throwing that helmet?
I have no idea.
Sideline, maybe?
What'd you do? You just won your second game of the year, and you're about to go into your off season. You take your helmet off before you even get off, and you're just going to, huck that thing at your sideline? Like, is that going to the equipment man? Who's he throwing that thing at? He's going to have to go pick that thing up. Like, what is he doing? I don't even know what he's doing.
I love it. I love it.
Believe me, I enjoyed the optics of it were hilarious. But where was that helmet going? I don't know what the end result was supposed to be. That was my biggest.
His last 3 games were 160, 140, and 146 yards. So
okay,
not
so
a bad end of the season.
Let's hope he can maintain that, keep it going. They get a new coach in there.
Joey B.
Joey Burrow, man.
The one thing we always talk about with Lombardi, how...
Hey, by the way, Joe Burrow's like, I'm coming home, coming home. Tell the world I'm coming home. Let let the rain wash away all the pain of yesterday. And no, we won't win games. We can't play real music here.
That was basically
sing the hell out of
Same
it, though.
thing.
I wonder if we're going to get sued by Diddy for that. How accurate it's. By the way, that was not a recording. If you're listening to radio, that was us singing. Yes, yeah. That could be
Sean Combs might sue us, but not Diddy.
Sean Combs.
Remember he dropped the P?
Yeah. He was Puff Daddy,
P. Diddy.
P. Diddy,
Papa Diddy Pop.
Diddy, Papa Diddy Pop, Sean Paul.
Sean De Paul.
Sean Paul.
Sean the ball.
10:41, we got to get to a break. We got Eldridge Shane Mazin from Detroit, Anthony in Columbus, Ohio, who wants to talk about Chris Boswell, comeback player of the year. That's true, though. He should. Remember, Chris Boswell, kicker for the Steelers last year, was not allowed to go in public in Pittsburgh because of how bad he was. This year, I think he only missed 2 kicks.
Most missed kicks in the league last year. Least missed kicks in the league this year.
No way.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I believe from 13 to 2.
If there was any respect for kickers and punters, he would be in the comeback player of the year conversation. Yeah. But he's not. Kyle in Cleveland and Joseph in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Huh. That's not a Dominican Republic.
Let's take that now. I mean,
Nick and I went there. It's beautiful.
Joseph, hola, aquí estamos, mi amigo.
Pat, I speak English. It's all good, man.
Okay. All right, good.
Yikes.
That's good news. What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, I'm a huge Eagles fan. I lived in Philly for 7 years or so, and I totally gave up on the Eagles this season. I mean, with all the injuries that we've had, and I've been completely blown away how we've been able to come out from underneath. What do you think, Pat? Do you think we got a chance to at least?
Yeah, Joe. I said earlier, I think you guys win. I think, honestly, they get a win this weekend against the Seattle Seahawks. I like the fact, by the way, that all Eagles fans were out on the Eagles, and then now they're all the way back in on the Eagles. We have a guy pretty close to this office, first game of the year, was going to buy a Super Bowl ticket because of how good he felt about the Eagles. Then Eagles fall off. He said we're back to stinking again forever. Now they get a couple wins late where they come back late. Carson Wentz looks like a great player. They got 45 people on the IR. He's all the way back to going to the Super Bowl. I have no idea. Eagles fans ride a wave like no other fan base I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm happy for him. I like the Eagles this weekend against the Seahawks. I like him especially at +1.5. 10:43 here on this January 2nd. 2020. We're back on the other side to talk about Tua. Should Tua go to the NFL or should he stay in college for another year? Here's a tease. Go to the NFL. Back to talk about it.
Hey guys, if you're experiencing erectile dysfunction, you can now get treated anywhere. Like here, here, even here. Okay, maybe not there. That's why we built Roman. So it's easy to get ED meds prescribed online delivered to your door. Just visit GetRoman.com, chat with a U.S. licensed physician, and if treatment is right for you, you'll get genuine medication delivered in discreet packaging. Get started with your free online visit at GetRoman.com/TV.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here on January 2nd, 2020. That is the date that nobody would have expected Jason Garrett to still be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Joining us now, beat writer from The Athletic for the Dallas Cowboys, Mr. Jon Machota. Mr. Jon Machota.
Yeah. How's it going, guys?
Excellent. How are you, boss man? Appreciate the time. Let's get to it here because we got about 6 minutes left. The conversation about Jason Garrett has been one that's been relatively negative from everywhere. I don't know how it is in Dallas, but outside of Dallas. And Jerry Jones said at the Salvation Army event on Good Morning Football that the what he is expecting from Jason Garrett is this thing that is very difficult, this task that is impossible to win the Super Bowl, and that's what his expectations are. Jason Garrett has been nowhere near that for his entire career. Here we are, January 2nd. He's still head coach. What is going on down there between Jerry and Jason Garrett?
You know, the biggest thing is that it's not like it's just another head coach to Jerry Jones. He's been around. Jason Garrett's father was a scout in the organization for a long time. He's known Jason from the time he was a player, and then obviously as an assistant, and now for these 9.5 years as head coach, and he really does look at him as like almost another son. I mean, they're extremely close, and I think he's having a hard time parting ways with him. But ultimately, that's what's going to happen. There's just no way that he could keep him, give him a contract extension after, that's these last 9 years they've missed the playoffs 6 times, and it'd be one thing if this team was just decimated by injuries and there are outside circumstances that factored into this season, but it came down to they had a relatively healthy lineup for almost the entire season. Dak Prescott really didn't deal with injury until the very end of the year. Their schedule ended up being a lot easier than it was originally thought, and they didn't play like the teams that we've even seen from Jason Garrett teams in the past, and because of that, he didn't come close to what the goal was supposed to be. The goal was supposed to be not only win the division, get in the playoffs, but it was at least get to the NFC Championship game. And to fall this far short and just go 8-8 for the 4th time, there's just no way they can bring him back.
So is Jason Garrett a bad son because he's letting down the family business on such a regular basis and refuses to step away?
You could look at it that way for sure. He's not going to step away until he's told he has to leave because it's absolutely his dream job. There's nothing he wants to do more than coach the Dallas Cowboys. And, you mentioned at the beginning about how is there any positive about him down in Dallas? There's not. And it hasn't been for a long time. This isn't like, especially with the fans, it's like the feeling down here, down the stretch of this season was it got to the point where fans were like, man, I hope they don't just sneak into the playoffs and then they might keep Jason Garrett. It was like, if we have to lose to the Eagles to seal the deal and know that we'll get a new head coach, let's do that. That's fine. I mean, there's nobody that is a fan of this team that wants to keep going in this direction. And I mean, I'm originally from Detroit. I've always told people down here, I think Jason Garrett is a fine head coach for the Detroit Lions. Once in a while, you might go to the playoffs. You're never really an embarrassment, but this is the Dallas Cowboys. You have to be able to compete for Super Bowls, and I just don't know anybody that can say that he's gotten them close to that in these 9.5 years.
Detroit didn't deserve this. Their coach can definitely be an embarrassment. That happens on a very regular basis. Jason Garrett has not. I mean, I guess Jason Garrett has underwhelmed everybody, in particular, each and every single year. Now, there's a lot of rumors that were floating around there that some of the other coaches were told to seek other jobs and do things like that, and some people are still under contract. Is it going to get messy with half of the department potentially still having contract and then other people looking for other jobs? Is there any chance Jason Garrett is retained? And what happens with all the other coaches?
Yeah, I don't see any way that he's retained. And in terms of the other coaches, if this was any other organization, I would say that they're all gone and that they're just going to let the new head coach hire his entire staff on his own. But I mean, this is an organization that, they had Jason Garrett in place before they had as the OC, before they, hired Wade Phillips as the head coach. So there is a part of me that believes that I can't rule out them trying to keep Kellen Moore as OC or John Kitna as quarterback coach, possibly Mark Colombo with the offensive line coach. It depends on, what that new head coach wants, but I could see there being a few guys that, Jerry Jones really likes that he'd like the new head coach to keep. But again, I believe that that's a problem. I don't think that it should be run that way. Your next head coach should be able to hire his entire staff. The most success that the Dallas Cowboys have had since Jerry Jones has owned the team is when he allowed that to happen with Jimmy Johnson. So you would hope that's the direction they go. But because, Jerry Jones in his past, I can't say that all of them are gone, but I would think at the very least almost all of them are gone.
All right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. John Machota, read his words at The Athletic for the Dallas Cowboys. That was great. The thought that head coaches don't get a chance to pick their own coordinators is just hilarious. And the thought that they would keep anybody, including Kellen Moore, is also hilarious because Jerry Jones came out and said, well, they were just out-coached today, and that means all phases there. That's all sides of the ball. I think he said that on numerous occasions. I don't know how anybody sticks around. I have no idea how anybody stays. And if you're delaying the breakup, who are you making it worse for, yourself or the other person?
Well, and if you're trying to get a guy like Lincoln Riley, don't you want an entire new culture coming in there? You don't want like bits and pieces from the previous regime sticking around like that. Just gets messy.
Well, the classic, how we used to do it.
Right.
That's like Hugh Jackson whenever when Todd Haley came in was like, well, the way we do it around here. We are 1-31 or whatever. By the way, Hugh Jackson was on this show. Completely different opinion of him. He's slinging tequila. Mm-hmm. He's getting back in the NFL, but he did not look good on Hard Knocks. But that is weird whenever you have the potential for the way we used to do it was. It's like, well, nobody cares.
Right.
That is now out the door. It's my way now, Grandpa.
Someone said on the Get Up this morning, and Jerry could take his time because he knows Lincoln Riley, if that's his number one prospect, is not going to go to any of the other teams. If he's going to go to the NFL, it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys.
So Urban Meyer potentially to the Browns. Ron Rivera was hired to the Redskins with Jack Del Rio. Who are the Carolina Panthers going to get?
If Urban goes to the Browns, do you consider that a bad look for the Cowboys? That he would choose the Browns or the Cowboys?
I think him in Ohio is where Urban Meyer is supposed to be, just strictly off of my mentions after I talked bad about him. We'll be back on the other side. Great first hour here, January 2nd, 2020. You're the best. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
On average, people have to wait 29.3 days to see a doctor. Anyone living with erectile dysfunction, hair loss, or cold sores knows that kind of wait just won't work. That's why there's Roman, the digital health clinic for men. Complete a free online visit, and you'll hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. If medication is right for you, Roman delivers it with free 2-day shipping, always in discreet packaging. Get started today with a free online visit at GetRoman.com/TV. Roman, let's take care of it.
It's the perfect occasion for a mental vacation from the heart of the nation. Not your medication, 2 hours of magic. Let's give it a go. Ladies and gents, it's the Pat McAfee Show. It's the Pat McAfee Show.
Yes, it is Chase Rice. I appreciate you for that free intro. He's on tour. If he's in your city, go check him out. Joining me live in, Indianapolis, Indiana, on the chatting couch, Boston Connor, feeling good about the Patriots this weekend.
Very good. Defense is back. We'll see where we go.
Defense is back. You mean the offense is back? I mean, have a little bit.
Well, offense hasn't been there all season. The defense is coming back after the Dolphins' 27-point debacle.
Oh, you're talking about Ryan Fitzpatrick. On the ones and twos playing hack independent music because we don't have the rights to real music. At Nick Maraldo. How's it going, Nick? Great.
Good, buddy.
Great pool over there. At Tone Diggs is wearing another salmon hoodie. Looks good. At Ty Schmidt. Jason McAfee back from his second vacation in the week. At Viva Lazito, at Evan Foxy rocking a hilarious sweater. And Todd McComas on the phones, 1-833-622-3331. We will get to a couple of those. There's a Gino in Pittsburgh on the line. Excited to hear from Paisan what he wants to talk about. Speaking of talking about, news came out yesterday that Tua Tagovailoa, that was right. Sure.
Yeah, right there.
Tua Tagovailoa will make his announcement on whether he's going back to Alabama or going to the NFL on January 6th. Just a year ago, people were saying that the Alabama football team could beat an NFL team because of how good Tua was as a quarterback. People were saying that. Now, those people, obviously, we all know now, January 2nd, 2020, are buffoons to think that a college football team could beat an NFL team. But that's what Tua did to the football sporting world. He captivated everybody in the football world. This little lefty from the island comes over to Alabama in his freshman season, comes in at halftime, plays hero, wins a national championship, goes on to be a disgustingly talented quarterback. And then this year, yet again, the same conversation. Miami Dolphins were making moves in the offseason. It was said that the team was tanking strictly for this guy. That's how good of a quarterback he was. Now, here we sit, January 2nd, 2020, after Alabama beats Michigan just yesterday in a bowl game that wasn't a college football playoff. And the conversation is Tua going to leave for the NFL when an organization at the beginning of the season was tanking for him, or is he going to go back to college? Now, Tua has had 4 surgeries in 2 years. Is that alarming? Yes. Tua seems to be a bit undersized. Is that alarming? Yes. Tua also seems to be one of the most accurate passers that maybe college football has ever seen. Tua also seems to be a guy that wants to take care of his family. Big family man, they say. His brother now is a quarterback at Alabama. I think if I'm Tua, I'm going to the NFL faster than you could say the letters NFL. Yes, you've had 4 surgeries in 2 years. What happens if you go back to Alabama and you have another surgery? You know what happens in an NFL's GM's eyes? That's already happening. It's like, wait, can this guy be a franchise quarterback? Will he be able to survive an NFL season that's longer with bigger players, more athletic players, and systems that could potentially set you up to get hit just a little bit more than you were at Alabama behind the best offensive line and all the weapons? If you have a chance to still be a first-round draft pick, which by all accounts, everybody's saying Tua is still a first-round draft pick. 4 surgeries, 2 years, he's still a first-rounder. If you have a chance to be a first-rounder in any sport and you can do that, you go ahead and do that. Let me tell you why. The NFL might not be around for Tua a year from now. The NFL might not be around for Tua 5 years from now. But you know what will always be around? A degree from a university at all times. So anytime you hear a player think like, I'm going to come back and get that degree, I'm like, do that 10 years from now. Go ahead and get that money right now, because if Tua gets hurt again next year like he did these past couple years, I don't know if he's still a first rounder. Strictly because, not because of his ability, but because of his availability. That is a real thing in the NFL. If Tua is still a first rounder, he has to go, and I hope that's what he says on January 6th.
Right after his injury, the conversation on why he could go or not go was because he may fall to the 2nd or 3rd round. But every mock draft that you look at right now has him still going top 5, top 10.
Those mock drafts, by the way, I don't think are actual GMs.
No, I know that.
I don't know. If I'm a GM, I'm not drafting him in the 1st round. He's not going to be. If you're a 1st-round draft pick as a quarterback, you're a franchise player. You are the franchise player at some point, whether it's this year or years down the road. The way this Miami situation is shaping up, though, seems like a perfect situation. You still got Ryan Fitzpatrick, who can go into Foxborough in Week 17 in a must-win game for the Patriots and get a Dolphins team that only has 4 wins on the year, a W. Let Tua sit behind him, get healthy, learn from him. I think that is a perfect setup, a perfect transition for Tua. And I think that, I don't know if it's going to get any better than that. No. If he comes back and gets hurt, I just don't see how you could draft him to be your franchise guy. He's undersized. He's always hurt. There's a lot of question marks there. Right now, there's still like it was a freak hip injury. It was. Like, that's going to happen. His ankles have been fixed. Like, those are things. But right now, I think he has to go. I honestly think he has to go. And I am not a part of the Tagovailoa family. Tagovailoa? What is it? Is that it?
I think it's Tagovailoa.
Tagovailoa. I throw up the shocker. I'm getting married in Hawaii. Love the island. Big fan. If I'm a part of that family, though, I'm pushing him out of Alabama as fast as I can and saying, go try to get as much money as we can right now and take your time getting healthy with hopefully, now granted, I assume the Alabama medical staff is better than most NFL teams, but it's one of those things where a kid got to get healthy and hopefully he does it this year.
What more does he have to prove?
National champion.
Yeah, won a national champ. Like, maybe if he wants to go back and try to win a Heisman, but like that's not going to do anything else for his draft stock. I think people pretty much know what he is right now, and the question is whether or not he can stay healthy.
He's doing this all with his non-dominant arm. Doesn't get talked about enough.
Also,
what if he sits out next year for them to rehab, and they put the ball back in his right arm? They're like, let's get you back on your dominant arm. He's a both-arm quarterback. Ambidextrous quarterback in the NFL. That would be hilarious. That's how I play ping.
Also, this year, his competition as far as getting drafted is Joe Burrow.
That's it.
Next year, it's Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. There's always another quarterback that pops up. There's a young guy from USC who's apparently supposed to go very high.
Yeah, he has to go. And let's assume Alabama has another 5-star quarterback just waiting.
His brother.
Is he a family man? Let his brother get some shine.
Exactly.
Let his brother get some shine. Let's go to Gino in Pittsburgh. Gino, what's up, bub?
Hey, shout out to Jay McAfee for taking that decade-long vacation.
Hey, boy, Jay. It's been a long fall for Jay.
Quick reference real quick. I won't be on the phone for too long, but 2 things. What's up with Anthony's attitude all the time? He wants to get a pinky ring. That guy's wilding out. I can't take it. If I see him with a pinky ring on the show, I ain't watching another fornicating episode. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, Gino, I think you're wrong.
It's
better than this middle finger ring.
What are you, a fake Italian?
If we go 18 weeks, send the Chargers over to Great Britain or whatever overseas. How do you feel about having back-to-back bye weeks so they can have that week, come home, get adjusted to the American lifestyle again, and then finish off the season?
That's what it is. It's not the time It's the
a
American lifestyle that they're not used to after coming back. That shot to pinky ring was not warranted, by the way.
I mean,
yeah, a pinky ring, if I could wear one. If my skin tone was just one tone darker, if I had the Southern Italy olive skin instead of my 0.01% Northern Italian, Irish, German skin, I would rock a pinky ring faster than you could say pinky ring.
Where was that dude from?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, I understand what happened then.
What happened?
I mean, he's probably Polish or something like that, and his family just loves Italians. Like so they named him Gino, but he has no idea what to do as a fake Italian.
All right. So for those that are just listening to the show, the guy that's speaking right there, his name is Anthony DeGilio. He's from Pittsburgh, as is Franklin Maraldo. We grew up in a town that is 97% Italians, and on it.
Watch your mouth.
I just found out I was 0.01% Italian due to 23andMe a year ago. I had to go on an apology tour for all the things that I've said about the Italians. Great people, great food, beautiful culture. Just some of the most despicable acts in the history of mankind have come from Italians.
They didn't realize this is a pro pinky ring show.
I am a pinky ring pro. Yeah. Out of all the things you could bash Italians for, it's not the pinky ring that you should go after.
We're against middle finger rings.
Correct.
Yes. And let's go back to the NFL now. I don't think it's going to be. It is going to be 18 weeks. I think it's going to be 17. Nope. I think it's going to be 19 weeks. Actually, I don't think it's going to be 18 weeks. I think it's going to be 17 games, 2 bye weeks. I think every team is going to have a neutral site game. Do I think that should be overseas in Europe? I agree. That could be a spot. Canada should be a spot. Mexico should be a spot. I think they should even get into Australia because there's a lot of Australians playing in games. I think there should definitely be a bye week after that game. I believe the NFL is going to go to a 17-game schedule, 2 bye weeks, 1 neutral site per, and I think that is coming next year per the new CBA. And I'm excited for it, to be honest, because now that football is kind of wrapping up, I am getting very nervous about what the hell we're going to talk about and what the hell we're going to do without the NFL. I'm already kind of getting like the Sunday scaries when it comes to no NFL. Next year, there should be an extra couple weeks, which is exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just makes sense.
No team can be over there, though. No team is going to be able to be over there. Now, does the NFL probably want that? I'd assume that they do, because having a team in another country obviously opens up the fan base and opens up eyes that one-off events can't obviously open up the eyes of. But if we're going to have an international team, we've said this already, give it to Canada. I think Canada deserves it. I think after watching what the Toronto Raptors were able to do whenever they won the NBA championship and the entire country became the Canadian Raptors, I mean, that's awesome if we get that with the NFL. I think they deserve a team before Europe does, just because, not that the love hasn't been there in Europe, because they fill out those stadiums. Wembley was awesome. I got a chance to go over there. I got a chance to be a part of the what's that thing where you stand on a stage? A pep rally in the middle of London. They reported like 900,000 people were there. I'm not 100% sure that is accurate, but there's a lot of support over there. I just think logistically having a team over there is going to be very, very difficult. And until they can figure out time travel or jetpacks like Elon Musk, I don't think it's going to be possible to have a team based there, but I don't mind more games going over there because I think it's good for the business.
No, based on the fanfare that you see when they go to Mexico and just the fans that Canada has for the NFL, if a team in London got it before those two places, I think that would be wrong.
I think it'd be rude.
Yeah. That would be wrong.
And the NFL is never rude.
No.
Now look at Jerry Jones. He won't even let go of a coach right now because he's part of the family.
Yep.
The NFL is the last thing but rude. They would never be rude.
I mean, Canada doesn't have anything else. Like, London has...
Are you kidding me? Why are you taking shots at
dude.
the
What do they have?
NFL? We're pretty large up in Canada.
Yeah, no. They know.
What, they know that they don't have much else?
Yeah.
The NBA and the NHL.
They're the reigning NBA champions.
They have one team in there?
What, the NHL? They got that Ottawa team?
No, NBA.
Calgary.
Oh, yeah.
Calgary.
Vancouver.
Manitoba, I think, has a team.
Winnipeg.
Detroit.
Hockey town.
Hartford.
We should trade Detroit, though, to Canada.
I agree.
Maybe they get the Lions.
Maybe they get the Lions.
Ooh.
Oh.
That's a good idea.
I don't hate that, actually.
Wow.
Just get rid of your team.
Wow.
Fox.
Guys, they're never going to win a Super Bowl in Detroit.
You're
That
on
could
a
change
roll.
some things. I can still be a Lions fan.
Oh, so you think it's Detroit, United States that is the problem? You don't think Detroit, Canada? You think that would be the answer?
I mean, there's a lot of problems, but having Canada behind Detroit would be awesome.
It would be cool to have Canada behind Detroit. Canada is a great place, by the way, with good people ready to roll. That Toronto city, I love that place. We've been up there
So clean.
2 times in the last month or 2 months or so.
Beautiful.
Beautiful up there. Give them a team. The Canadian American footballers. That'd be good. Put them there in Toronto.
Well, they already have the BC Lions. They'll just have the BC Lions of the NFL.
The British Columbia Lions? Is that a Canadian Football League team?
Yeah.
Do they have a soccer league up there?
That's what I'm saying.
They still pay taxes to the Queen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they still pay taxes to the Queen. So the Queen would be invested in the NFL, which would be good.
So ipso facto, Canada gets a team, England gets a team.
Right. 2 birds, 1 stone.
Look at that. We just took care of Europe and Canada. Hey,
let's go.
You're welcome, Commish. You are welcome. Did you know that this time of year is the number one time to get engaged? So if you're in love and ready to get engaged, go see our friend Steven Singer, the I Hate Steven Singer guy. You've been hearing me talk about him for weeks, and you might have seen his billboards if you're in Philadelphia, the I Hate Steven Singer billboards. Other jewelers love to hate Steven. Why? Because Steven makes buying a diamond easy. No negotiating, no haggling, no nonsense, and no BS. Just one perfect price every day, and he has the best quality, best diamonds anywhere. Check out Steven's Ready for Love diamond engagement ring collection that is ready to go. Each diamond is hand-selected and picked by his real expert jewelers. No one selling online or anywhere else, for that matter, does it better than Steven Singer Jewelers. He takes no-risk shopping to the next level with his full 100-day, 100% money-back guarantee. And fast and free shipping both ways. Whether your budget is $500 or $5,000, Steven has the perfect engagement ring for you at the perfect price. Visit The Real Steven Singer at the other corner of 8th and Walnut in Philly, or online at IHateStevenSinger.com with free shipping. Real diamonds, real experts, real jewelers, Steven Singer Jewelers. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. When Tiffany's meets Walmart, he says.
Incredible.
Good business, good diamonds, ship anywhere, 100-day, 100% money-back guarantee. 11/16 on the East Coast. We'll be back on the other side. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Ten years ago, I had an undiagnosed heart condition, and erectile dysfunction was actually the first sign that something was wrong.
Luckily, I'm a doctor, an expert in sexual health, and Zach's dad.
Not everyone has a doctor in the house, and some health conditions can be really tough to talk about. We started Roman to change that.
Now you can go online and chat with a physician.
And if treatment is right for you, we'll ship genuine medication right to your door. If you're experiencing ED, hair loss, cold sores, or other issues, let's take care of it.
Dun, 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 dun. 11:20 Eastern Standard Time, 8:20 over there on the Pacific. Being joined by Joe Thomas at 11:40 to talk all things Cleveland Browns and NFL. Big slate of wild card games this weekend. Can't wait to watch that. One on at a time is very nice.
Yes.
Just take it all in.
Mm-hmm.
During the season when you're trying to balance 8 different games, it's a little bit difficult, especially when you can't watch Red Zone, because Red Zone is a bunch of terrorists and eliminated punts. So I like to watch the punters. We might have missed some things here in the last hour and 20 minutes. That's why we have a segment that is currently sponsored with our friend Nick called Notable News with Nick. What are some things that we missed, Mr. Nick Maraldo?
Thank you. First of all, you need to know Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code America. Shout out to Manscaped for sponsoring Notable News.
Hey, good for Notable News. Also, good for you getting proprietary technology to make sure you don't nick or snag your nuts while manscaping with our friends at Manscaped in a Lawnmower 2.0.
Well said.
Used it just the other day. Almost took off all the hair on my body. It's so much fun.
It's a dangerous game.
It's so much fun. It's just so smooth. It's like butter peeling off the top of a. Oh, it's good.
Probably the biggest news of the day, former NBA Commissioner David Stern passed away yesterday at the age of 77. During his 30-year reign, Stern revamped the drug policy, oversaw global expansion, transformed the NBA into a multi-billion-dollar corporation. However, his tenure was marred by countless controversies such as the Malice in the Palace, 3 different lockouts, Tim Donaghy, and the Donald Sterling scandals.
See, I think you should have done those in reverse. I think you should have done the bad stuff early, then the good stuff at the end, so we could properly say, you know what? Good stuff. Let's do a moment of silence. But now we have to talk around the stuff that you buried him for.
No, you take the good with the bad. The bad comes last.
Well, I think he did a lot more good than bad for the NBA. And I didn't know much about David Stern. Grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is a hockey town. We didn't watch much NBA. But now as you're listening to these stories unfold about David Stern, it sounds like he was a very ruthless businessman that was also very funny and lovable. And the sport of basketball is very thankful for him. Let's have a moment of silence for David Stern. Thank you. Todd's talking to somebody on the phone.
Unbelievable.
Todd, yeah. But rest in peace to David Stern. Mm-hmm. Honestly, truly, very thankful for what he did for the NBA. I'm an NBA guy. Big fan of that now. Rest in peace to him. But, boy, the way you delivered that, Nick.
That was wild.
It was wild.
Buried him.
Yeah, he did.
I didn't write that. That was a copy and paste headline.
Well, maybe you should have looked at it.
Yeah, but we're talking about the way you delivered it.
Done some editing.
That's what we're saying.
No, it's very accurate.
We understand. Nobody's saying it was inaccurate. What we're saying, though, is the way you delivered it.
It was just.
I'm not here to inject bias into this.
You didn't even talk about his
I'm
enemy.
delivering this news straightforward.
Some structure.
No, but there is bias in it by the way that you deliver it, and that's what people don't understand. That's kind of the news. You're kind of a part of the problem, actually. Now that I think about it, you are part of the problem.
I think you need to know some good things he's done, but also some bad things.
Well, we understand that. We're just talking about the way you did it.
He didn't go into the stands and fight the crowd.
Yeah, what do you want him to do?
Nothing. I don't have any problem with him.
Yeah, but the way you spun that is just classic 2020 now news. Yeah.
Bad people die all the time.
Also,
good people die all the time.
Whoa. That does not play here with David Stern. There's a lot more people saying David Stern's a good person. That does play, though, for our English teacher at our high school, where they wanted me to write something nice about her, and I responded with that quote right there.
Speaking of another guy who died, Yankees pitcher Don Larson passed away at 90 years old, and he's the only pitcher to throw a perfect game in the World Series in 1956.
Congrats to him. Rest in peace to him as well. Coming 3, that really does seem like it's a 3.
Oh, yeah. It's real.
Got to keep your head on a swivel whenever.
YouTube commenters on the Pat McAfee Show page for Professional Baseball Player documentary, which is free now. You can go check out.
On youtube.com/The Pat McAfee Show.
Are convinced that you batted .333 against current Chicago White Sox pitcher Reynaldo Lopez.
And who are we to tell them they're wrong? Who are we to tell them they're wrong? A documentary that we made, heralded as the greatest comedic sports documentary in the history of comedic sports documentary. Is it the only comedic sports documentary in the history of comedic sports documentary? Yeah, but still the best. Doesn't matter. Could be first and last, but we spin it in a proper fashion and say we're the best comedic sports documentary. Now free to everybody on this Throwback Thursday, January 2nd, 2020 on our YouTube page. It's about 36 minutes of me playing baseball for the first time in my entire life. Didn't play as a child, never stepped into a batter's box, and still until I had to square away against a guy that's throwing 92 miles an hour. And now YouTube commenters are pretty much believing that he plays for the Chicago White Sox. Does he play for the Chicago White Sox?
The world may never know.
I don't think. I don't know.
He
The
might.
YouTube commenters are saying it though. Yeah, can't blame him for that. What's that, Zito? You had something to say?
We have another death. Nick forgot about. Jack Sheldon. He was the singer of Schoolhouse Rock. He passed away today.
School of House Rock?
Yes, Schoolhouse Rock.
There it is.
What's that?
The bill. How the bill becomes.
Okay, first of all, I
Remember
wasn't
that?
done yet, Zeke. So
Well, you said the last person died today, and that was last.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did.
Whatever it is, maybe we keep death out of the notable news. Like
He was
rest
a
in
big part
peace
of my
to-
childhood.
Rest
Big
in
part of my
peace to that guy. I'm very sorry that he passed away, as I am for the guy that threw the perfect game in the World Series and David Stern. I mean, these are all wonderful humans who've done a lot for our society. Rest in peace to them. Notable news is supposed to be things that we didn't cover for this show. I don't know if all these deaths are what our show is about.
Well, I wasn't going to put that guy in there, but just the fact that Zito tried to take over the segment was disturbing to me.
Anything else we missed?
Pope Francis had to smack a woman's hand to free himself yesterday from her clutches in Vatican City.
Great video.
I saw that, by the
Great
way.
video.
Now, I've heard that you're supposed to. Now, I saw the video and I laughed very, very hard. Sam was telling me, my fiance, that there used to be a ring that you kiss on the Pope.
Yeah.
But this Pope is not down with the with the kiss
the ring is awesome.
Yeah, he's not down with the kiss the ring thing. So was that lady attempting to kiss his ring and he gave her a couple get? Not you, lady. Did he give her a
The
couple?
lady
of those?
who got slapped, slapped in the hand. Okay. She was.
Well, yeah, I
she
mean, the
was-
Pope didn't smack her across the face.
There's no need to clarify.
Well, I think there was.
Okay.
But she was getting pumped. Like, she was doing all the Hail Marys and stuff like that for like 6 minutes before right before he got to her, he decided he touched his last hand, and she did not enjoy that.
Yeah, she really wanted
She
grab
tried
it.
to rip his arm off.
Oh my! In the security, he's got 7 security guards. They're just watching the Pope handle his own business.
It's like trying to grab a stray dog or something when he's not looking.
Yeah, it is. It was like you trying to chase down Walt with his collar off or whatever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
exactly.
That's exactly what it was. He was ripped over there, not happy. I mean, the Pope is he's fed up with it. Listen, the Pope's tired of you praying to him. Okay, the Pope's tired of you trying to touch him, especially when he's going to the other aisle to give high fives over there. I respect it. What do you do? Are you supposed to touch the Pope? Like with the Queen, you're not supposed to touch her. She's supposed to touch you.
He was touching.
Yeah, you can't be grabbing the Pope, though. You let him come to you. You can't be snagging him.
Are you a Catholic?
Oh, yeah.
You are a Catholic?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the Pope is the guy in the Catholic religion.
He's the king.
Top dog.
Top dog. The Pope Mobile, the whole thing like
Yep.
that? All right. Would you want to touch him if you saw him? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't grab
I wouldn't
him.
try to put him in a Kimura and take his arm home with me. I mean,
It's a double wrist lock.
you're right. You're right. I'm
It's
sorry.
a double wrist lock. Anything else, Nick?
Last thing here. Mysterious drones have been flying over Colorado and Nebraska in recent weeks, and authorities can't figure out why or who's behind it.
Now, there was also a rocket on the shore of Florida New Year's Eve night. That is an unidentified rocket.
You seen that thing?
Shout out to the aliens.
Like a-
2020's the year they're here.
Like a NASA rocket or a missile rocket?
I just saw the headline in the picture. It looked like it was like
It holds people in it?
yeah.
Okay.
It looked like
Has Elon claimed it yet?
Nope, he hasn't. And there was no scheduled anything. So that's the issue. Now, granted, I did not read past the headline. So I could be completely wrong here. But it sounds like Elon Musk is no longer the only alien on planet Earth in 2020. And for that, I'm very excited.
I thought it was a jetpack, by the way.
A jetpack, you thought? Yeah. It was a little thicker with fire underneath it. I don't know if we have we could put it up on the thing for the people watching. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it had a double exhaust, fire flames. And it looks like it's potentially a jetpack, but it's been unidentified and nobody knows what it has been.
That's experimental.
You think the aliens are
That's
experimenting?
alien
Now
technology.
you got to remember, there's white trash aliens out there too who might be just skipping around in the universe and they just landed here trying to get back home. We always assume that these aliens are much smarter and much more everything than us, but let's assume that somewhere out there, there's people that are dumber than us that are just bebopping around the universe and could have potentially floated in through one of the holes that Elon Musk punctures in our whatchamacallit.
Ozone layer,
Yep,
atmosphere.
and got in there. I'm excited for the fact that we're going to meet aliens soon. If you're President Trump, by the way, if you're Donald Trump, like a week before Election Day, you just kind of unravel it all.
Release the tapes.
No, you tease it.
Yeah, you tease it. You tease it. Well,
And
I
that-
can't believe a president hasn't done that.
And then I would sign up to vote immediately.
That's what I'm saying. Like I can't. That's an ace in the back pocket at all times. Like, oh hey, listen, you vote me back in. Alien news.
Open Area 51.
Alien news. Yeah, so the people that want to run like the lunatics don't have to actually do it themselves. Let's go to Anthony in Columbus, Ohio. Tony, what's going on, pal?
Hey, Pat, what's poppin'?
No, we're not doing it. No. tried to. Let's go to Maz, and we're not doing it. Mazin, what's up, dude?
Hey, fellas, I want to talk about the Michigan bowl game yesterday. Listen, if you guys told me that Michigan's defense was going to stack up all right after having Ohio State, that our special teams was going to go off in a way we haven't, record-setting 57-yard field goal by Quinn Nordine to go ahead before the end of the first half, and that our offense was going to let us down, man, I would have said you're crazy. I would have faded every pick you told me. It was heartbreaking, man. It was depressing being there. But I'm hoping today the Indiana Hoosiers can support the Big Ten here, go out. I think Tennessee's favored by like 2.5. And you know what? I'm hammering Indiana, man. They're gritty.
Yeah.
They're crazy. The weather's nice out here. They're going to go it. They're going to do it, man.
Yeah, you're damn right, Mazin. I didn't know Indiana was playing today. Excited to watch them make that win against Tennessee. Tennessee has just been something that's like a dumpster fire for a long time, and their fans don't deserve it. They're a diehard, loyal fan base. I went down there with the sheriff one time, got to watch a game, got to see all their thing. That was when Bruce Pearl was still coaching the basketball team. Pat Summitt was there. I got a chance to meet her. Wonderful human.
Nice.
How sad have things gotten in Michigan when you said your defense did not let you down when they gave up 35 points?
Well, and also, it wasn't that big of a bummer. You just got slaughtered in the second half. So that means coaches' adjustments happened, and you just had no shot. I mean, Michigan's in a tough – I mean, anytime you talk bad about Harbaugh, you get Michigan fans come raining down on you about how bad it was before Harbaugh got there. So I just try to stay out of the conversation because Michigan football has not been relevant in the scheme of things for a long time because Ohio State is just so good. So it's kind of tough for Michigan, and that's their biggest rival. Their biggest rival is the only reason why they haven't been relevant for a long time. So it's almost like their expectations are just like, we're a really smart school. A lot of very successful people come here. We have a beautiful campus. Our team is good sometimes. We got $500 million facilities. We just think of football now, and that's just the way it goes. It's almost like Michigan football has just been like, we're good. We're going to create some NFL guys, but in the end, we're not going to win a lot because the team below us that should not be named is just so damn good. And that's Michigan football in 2019 from like 2010.
I was actually thinking about that last night. I was trying to think of the last time Michigan sent like a really good guy to the NFL.
Well, the linebacker here for the Patriots, he's good. And Bush.
Devin Bush.
Devin Bush and the guy for the Patriots with the long hair.
Winovich,
he's good. Chase Winovich is good. Aside from that, I'm not 100%
sure. Like offensively, it seems like they haven't sent like a really great prospect to the NFL in a long time.
Offense has been their issue.
I thought about this last night while I was watching a couple of the bowl games that were supposed to matter, like the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't.
I mean, after the college football playoff, it's like the Rose Bowl should – everybody knows that the college football playoff should be 8 teams, and these other games like the Rose Bowl and other thing should be in the college football playoff because when the Rose Bowl isn't in the college football playoff, I understand that the Rose Bowl is the granddaddy of them all in this massive game, and everybody as a child dreamt of being in the game, but it's like I wish they would have made that one of the playoff games so that it was, a little bit more spectacular. I understand it's Big Ten, Pac-12, but whenever they make the college football playoff, 8 teams, 5 Big 5 conference champions, 3 at large bids. I hope they end up doing that. And I understand it could be tough, but Pasadena is a beautiful place. But last night watching that game, I'm like, congrats to Oregon. That's awesome with the Roses. But, I mean, I felt like I was much more excited for another bowl game that just happened a bit ago.
Am I wrong? I thought they, like the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, stuff like that, they now rotate them.
Yeah, Fiesta
so that
Bowl.
they're
it has been in
all
the
the
playoff.
BCS games. All the games that used to be BCS games now bounce around for the playoff.
Of all the New Year's Day games, though, yesterday, that was the one that that still felt a little bit like it, I think, because it was just the Rose Bowl still.
Yeah.
But it was a 1-point game, too.
Yeah.
It was a good game. There was a lot of hype around it. It was well called by Herbie and Fowler. I mean, it's a lot of things. The Rose Bowl is very important, but for me, it's like...
Correct. Yeah, it's just...
Let's go. Let's make that a playoff game. Make it better. They need to do that going forward. Once I become a voice, or if I become a voice for college football, I'll be hammering that thing pretty hard.
You should.
We need 8 teams. Let's go. All the champs, 3 at larges. Let's move forward. We don't have the UCFs of the old that do very well. Let's give them a shot. Even if they get buzzsawed, that happened to Oklahoma. I mean, this is going to happen. Let's give everybody an opportunity to potentially play the game. 11:34 here on the East Coast, 8:34 on Pacific. We got Joe Thomas on the other side to talk all things NFL and coaching gigs. Pretty excited about this conversation with Joe. He was supposed to be on the other day. He had a late night, he said. He apologized. He's excited for today. He's excited to talk. He was on vacation with Jason McAfee.
Sleeping with Billy.
Billy McComas, I forgot. Jesus. Jeez, you took a shot at Billy McComas. Happy New Year. We're back on the other side with Joe Thomas. This is the Pat McAfee Show.
Hey guys, if you're experiencing erectile dysfunction, you can now get treated anywhere. Like here, here, even here. Okay, maybe not there. That's why we built Roman. So it's easy to get ED meds prescribed online delivered to your door. Just visit GetRoman.com, chat with a U.S. licensed physician, and if treatment is right for you, you'll get genuine medication delivered in discreet packaging. Get started with your free online visit at GetRoman.com/TV.
Welcome back to the Pat McAfee Show here, January 2nd, 2020. We're being joined now by a guy who played 11 years in Cleveland, an All-Pro, a first ballot Hall of Famer to be from the NFL Network and the Tomahawk Podcast, Joe Thomas. What up, Joe?
Patrick, thank you so much for having me on. Pleasure's all mine.
Hey, sorry about that loss last night for Wisconsin to Oregon. I see you're wearing your Badgers gear there. I don't love what happened to you guys yesterday.
Yeah, that one stings a little bit, to lose the Rose Bowl by a point in a game that you feel like you just outplayed them in all three phases outside of the stupid mistakes you made, the turnovers. As an offensive lineman who loves the dirty, ugly, nasty games of 7-5, field goal, safety, no turnovers, no penalties. That was a hard one to swallow as a Badger fan.
I think I might as well just let you have it and let you do it too. How about your punter just dropping the ball out of nowhere too and losing the game?
Well, that's another reason why the punters and kickers should be eliminated from the sport, because when they ruin the game and they ruin my happiness, it's just unacceptable. They're too small of a part. They're too wimpy of people to be putting the game on their shoulders and to be putting my happiness in their hands. It's just not okay.
I mean, warranted in that particular case. Ball slipped out of his head, but I can respect the meathead in you, understanding that all the other things happened. For that to occur and change the game is a bit of a bummer for the guy. I feel terrible for him. He's going to live with that forever. Let's move forward now. Cleveland Browns are getting 0 takers on the bait that they're throwing out there for the head coaching gig. Who would want to be the head coach for the Browns, and why aren't you potentially going to be the head coach of the Browns?
Well, I think this might time to maybe make a spoiler alert that I'm throwing my hat in, and I'd like to be the next coach of the Cleveland Browns. This is where we break news here on the Pat McAfee Show.
Is that real?
I'm throwing my hat in. You know, they've tried everything from people that have coached, people that have a lot of experience, people that have running backs experience. How about a guy with no experience coach? I feel like that's really where they're missing. That's the last stone that they have yet to overturn. And I'm ready to take on the challenge.
Okay, so there has been word out this morning from Bruce Feldman, who Diggs says, by all accounts in the college football world, is in the know with the right people. He's saying that Urban Meyer is somebody that they are very much thinking about courting and trying to get that gig. Urban is still beloved in Ohio for what he did at Ohio State. Is that the right guy who could potentially come in, get the discipline for the team, find the right offensive coordinator, right defensive coordinator, and turn the Browns organization around, which is what has seemed to be about, 75 years of failure?
Yeah, there's been a lot of years of failure. Probably not quite 75, but right up in the 60s. I think Urban Meyer, I'll give you the quick pros and cons on him. Pro, great leader, great with discipline, toughness, building that winning culture. And so I think as far as that side of it goes, they're really lacking that. And that's a big reason why Freddie's not the head coach anymore. You need somebody with a big personality who's going to command respect, who's going to demand it from his players. He's going to get a lot out of his players, and he's going to be able to take all those big personalities in the Browns and get them to play together as one for a common goal. So as far as leadership, building a winning culture, he's excellent. The thing that I would say is his biggest con is he's never worked in the NFL. So he doesn't have the contacts that he's worked with that have NFL experience to be able to hire a staff. And I think one of the most important and sort of underrated parts of being a head coach is building out that staff. Not only your coordinators, but all those assistants that are going to be working one-on-one with those players on a daily basis. You got to be able to put together a good staff that has some type of NFL experience, because the game is different from college to the NFL. And head coaches, I think, you can make that bridge and that jump in today's NFL if you have some type of NFL experience, if you've worked with a bunch of guys that have NFL experience, so that you can hire those guys. But Urban, being a guy that has never worked in the NFL, doesn't have coworkers that have worked in the NFL. So if he makes that jump, he's going to have to hire a bunch of guys that either are all college background that he's worked with, or you're going to have to just hire a whole staff of guys that you depend on interviews or recommendations from other people. And so I think if you fill out a staff The best staffs are going to be filled out with guys that you've worked with, that you trust, that you know how they're going to act and how they're going to coach guys on a day-to-day basis.
Well, those guys also know your message. If they've been with you before, who's been coaching for a long time, it's going to be hard for Urban to dodge, dip, dive, duck, or dodge his way into a new coaching strategy if he brings somebody in that's different than his philosophy. Do you think that's more from a way they handle the humans or the way they handle the football aspect, the difference between the NFL and college when it comes to these coaches?
Well, it's both, and that's why it's so important, is because both those factors play into it. And you're going from coaching a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-olds that have no money, and you own them based on that you give them a scholarship. So they have to listen to you when you're a college coach. In the NFL, every single one of these dudes make way more money than you. They have families. They've been doing this a long time. They, at that point, have a lot more experience in the NFL game than you do. And so it's harder to get the respect of NFL players. You have to prove it to them in the meeting room that you know what you're talking about, and you're going to give them good coaching from a technique, and from a scheme standpoint, you're going to put them in the best position to succeed. That's how you gain respect if you don't have it with number of years in the NFL. And also from a scheme standpoint, it is different in the NFL. Everyone talks about NFL schemes, and now there are some college schemes like the RPOs and the zone reads that are carrying over to the NFL game, but largely it's still, there's a lot of pro-style offenses, and there's a lot different schemes on defense that just you don't see in the college game.
Who's the right coach for that gig? Everybody thinks McDaniels or McCarthy. McCarthy is a very intriguing component because he's been there, done that, has had success, would have the instant credibility with that locker room, I'd assume, because he's worked with Montana, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. Is that somebody you see emerging as a candidate, or who else?
Yeah, certainly I think McCarthy's going to be a finalist. He's won a Super Bowl, so he's got that experience. He's a proven leader. He's sort of a tough guy, which is, I think, what they're looking for with this roster of young, talented players that kind of need some professionalism, some guidance, some discipline. I think the concern is going to be the two things I would say are the McCarthy concerns. Is his last couple of years in Green Bay, there was a perception that he got a little bit comfortable after being there a long time. But then also there was a concern that his offense maybe got a little bit stale towards the end, and he was relying on maybe older concepts. But it seems like with this year that he's been away from football, he's kind of gone back and maybe he's revisited his offense and been able to incorporate some of the new styles and new concepts that you're seeing in the program now. And as far as McDaniels goes, I think his pro is he's probably one of the smartest offensive minds in today's game. He's worked with Tom Brady, was Bill Belichick a long time. He also has head coaching experience. The big negative that I would say when you're talking about McDaniels and the question mark with him is he really has only worked 1 year of his life for anybody besides Bill Belichick. Except for he worked 1 year, I think, as an intern for Michigan State with Nick Saban right when he got out of college. But other than that, it's all been under Bill Belichick. And what we've seen primarily from Bill Belichick disciples has been failure. But all the guys that have left have tried to become Bill Belichick, and there's something that you miss when you just try to become somebody else. So the question for McDaniels is, can he be his own guy if he gets another chance as a head coach?
All right, couple quick things here before our heart out here. We appreciate Joe Thomas coming on, one of the best football players to ever exist. You were there when Mangini came into Cleveland. I heard that was an utter abysmal failure. Is that accurate?
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly. I would say that he made everybody's life, from the people that worked behind the kitchen counter to the scouts to the goal. And we always said that he thought of every way to make your life horrible, whether it be replacing the nice, comfortable Cottonelle toilet paper with the rough stuff that you find in any generic public bathroom, to just the way that he wouldn't let anybody at practice except for the players. And I think he built like this divide between the players and the rest of the people in the building. But I will say I learned a lot from Eric. I thought he was an smart, tough coach that now that I've had some time away, and I'm sure you've all had people like that, whether it be coaches or teachers, that at the time you didn't like that tough coaching, that discipline that they instilled, but you feel like now that you have a chance to reflect, you were better because of it.
Hate me now, love me later. I felt like that with Rich Rodriguez, actually. He's a lunatic of a man, but I needed him in my life whenever it was there. He went too far on numerous occasions, I think, with what he was saying, but that's one of those guys I look back where I'm like, I'm thankful that I have that in my back pocket if things do get hard. I'm like, I could survive that. Now, last question here before we let you go. Tomahawk Show, need to download it. Great podcast, good conversation. Watch it on NFL Network, good brain. Who's going to win a Super Bowl, and how much should I bet on it?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think right now you got a good option to bet Patriots. Everybody's down on them right now. They're kind of sliding into the playoffs. But you know what? I think back to the Giants. Remember when the Giants played the Patriots the last game of the season when the Patriots were undefeated? The Patriots won that game, but the Giants got that confidence from playing right up to the buzzer, playing in that wild card game, and they got hot. Nobody has more experience in the playoffs than the Patriots. Their backs are against the wall. Nobody's believing them. And it seems like that's when Brady always plays the best. And I think you're going to have good odds if you take him right now to win the Super Bowl.
I think it's plus 1,200 right now if you bet the Patriots. So, I mean, odds are fantastic. Joe Thomas, odds are you are not only going to be a first ballot Hall of Fame football player, but also in this media world. We appreciate the hell out of you. Ladies and gentlemen, Wisconsin Badger, Cleveland Brown, Joe Thomas. Thank you, Joe.
Hey, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Have a good
Anytime,
one.
baby.
Yep. He's got a good brain. That talk about Tom Brady, that's why, like, in the first hour, you heard me, like, backing off of betting on the Titans. It's like, I don't know, man. Because it's so hard to go against everything inside of you that says, this is the Patriots, this is still Tom Brady, this is still Bill Belichick, and this is still the playoffs. But Mike Vrabel, willing to do anything, whatever it takes to win. That's an intriguing game this weekend.
Yeah, there's that side, and then there's the side, like, that your eyes see all year long, like this offense. It
stinks.
It's not great.
Let's go to Stamford, Connecticut here. Levi, what's up, dog?
What's going on, Pat? I just want to talk about the fact that how much of a losing season can you blame on the head coach when your defense plays like a leaky sieve for half the season? The offensive line looks like they're blocking screen on every play, and you got a quarterback named Matty Ice who can't throw it.
I was wondering who he was
His
talking
nickname
about.
is Waffle House.
He was talking about the Falcons, I believe. Yeah. It just feels like the Falcons were in a promised land. Now they're not, so the blame falls on the head coach, whether he deserves it or not. I mean, that's just the way the NFL world goes. Let's go to Zach in Miami. What up, dog?
What's up, dog?
Oh, this is Miami, Oklahoma.
Yes, sir. Miami, Oklahoma, not Miami, Florida, or Ohio.
Hey, Boomer.
No, go Pokes.
Okay. All right. Hey, go Pokes, go Mullet, I think is what you're saying there. What do you want to talk about, man? We
Yes,
got
sir,
about
go Mullet.
We got about 30
My
seconds.
quick question, and I'll let you keep it moving, is just in regards to Italian leather. And so, is Italian leather so expensive because they do not use barbed wire in their fencing?
Good question. I'm searching right now.
I have no idea. I mean, that's a Zito fact if I ever
The
heard
cows
it.
are fancier.
I'm very happy that that's how we ended this show today. 11:53 on the East Coast, 8:53 on the West Coast. We have a new hard out of 4:35. Yep. New schedule because we're on CBS Sports. I think we were supposed to read like 7 different live reads today. Didn't get a chance to get to them because I don't fully understand why or how much they're paying. That's all I would like to find out. Will I be a sellout for the right price? Will I be a stooge? Never. That's the thing about this place. Are we betting the Patriots this weekend?
Absolutely.
Am I betting the Patriots plus 1,200? Most certainly.
Wow.
That is a bet I'm putting in there. Will that be wasted money? Maybe I went down with the legacy that will be remained as the greatest dynasty in the history of professional sports, though. From myself, Nick, Diggs, Connor, Jason, Zito, Foxy, and Todd on the phones. We talked about Tua. We talked about the NFL. We talked to Joe Thomas about Urban Meyer. We talked to John Machota about the Cowboys. It's a family-run operation. They say they can't fire them today, but probably beat tomorrow. It's a wild world of sports. We can't wait to chat with you about it every single day. Monday through Friday, 10 to noon on the Eastern Standard Time. Rest in peace to David Stern, also that guy that pitched a perfect game in the World Series, also the guy from Jukebox Hero Schoolhouse Rock. It's a beautiful day, January 2nd. I will see you manana. This has been the Pat McAfee Show.